Have you ever gone to a new track, excited to try it out, and you finish your first session, pull into the pits thinking you did a great job, and your stomach sinks when you look at the timesheet and you're seconds off the pace? This is a pretty common situation if you don't have a clear strategy for learning new tracks quickly. It's frustrating and it can feel like you've wasted a whole session just trying to figure out which way the track goes. So in this video, I'm going to give you my lap by lap by lap process for learning new tracks that lets me get within tenths of the lap record in the very first session. Stick with me to the end and I'll share 2 bonus tips that will put you ahead of 90% of drivers before you even get to the track. Now, I'm going to break this into 3 key stages: the reconnaissance stage, testing, and refining. And the first of which is the reconnaissance phase. So you're in the kart and you're about to roll out onto track for the first time. Now, the first 3 or so laps are for reconnaissance only, and your goal here is not to be fast. You're just gathering information while driving at about 60 to 70% pace. Now that might sound boring, but I guarantee if you spend these 3 laps driving slowly and gathering the information we're about to talk about, everything we do later will become much, much easier. So this is really important. Now, this is a brand new track in Melbourne, and in this video, it's my first time driving it. So I'm going to use this as an example, but this process, of course, works for any track. So lap 1. Your only job on lap 1 is to work out where the track goes. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, it's hard to drive fast if you don't know where the track is going. But at the same time, you want to work out what corners lead into other corners, what corners lead onto straights, and key corners that set up linked sequences, things like that. You need this info so that you can work out what corners to prioritize later. So first lap, just work out where the track goes. For power play, as I'm driving, I'm thinking, okay, we've got a double apex corner into this straight, and then this right-hander into a tight braking zone, small technical area under the bridge, and then back out to the start finish. Simple enough. Now we move to lap 2. On lap 2, you're looking for the finer details like the track surface or changes in surface. So here, for instance, the track changes from a slippery surface to this much more grippy matte surface. Are there any funky features like ramps or banking? And where are the bumps? At power play, there is this big up ramp and a funky little dip in the road before this big crest and down ramp into the next corner. What corners do you need to brake for? Which curbs are flat and usable, and which are sausage curbs that will launch you into Narnia? Again, here you don't need to worry about going fast, you're just adding to your mental map, which we are going to use to go super fast in a minute. And now on lap 3, this is where I start identifying reference points. Now, if you don't know what a reference point is, here is a super quick explanation. Reference points are basically landmarks that you can easily see on the track or on the side of the track that let you know where you are more precisely. So a reference point is kind of like a measuring stick. Now, for instance, a braking reference point can be used to say, I'm going to brake when I pass this reference point every lap. And because of this, using reference points will make you much, much more consistent. Because instead of relying on your depth perception from your eyes, which can be pretty inaccurate, or just randomly guessing that, oh, I'm gonna brake here, I think, with a braking reference point, you have a consistent reference to measure off each lap. And that way, every lap you pass that reference point, you know exactly where you are and you know to hit the brakes. So that's how reference points work. So on lap 3, you want to start looking for markers for your braking points and your turn-in points. It could be a change in color on the barrier, or the end of the barrier, or a pole, or a change of track surface, or a bump. It doesn't matter what it is, but it should be easy to see with your peripheral vision, and it shouldn't change between laps, like a shadow, for example. So pick out some initial reference points, which won't be perfect yet, but you just need a starting point. At power play, I'm using this red arrow on the ground as the braking point for turn 1, and then the start of this dip in the road for turn in for the crest, the end of this barrier for my braking reference, and the corner of this wall as a braking and turn in reference for this corner. Stage 2. Now we are moving on to phase 2, which is the testing phase. And the goal here is to take all of the information that we just gathered from the reconnaissance phase, so those first 3 laps, and start putting it into practice. In stage 2, you're moving up to about 80 or 90% pace. Now, laps 4 and 5 is where I start focusing on linking together the racing line with the braking points at speed. And most importantly, working out how to prioritize the exit of the corners that lead onto straights. Remember the golden rule, slow in, fast out. So for now, it's a good idea to brake earlier than you think you need, because it's better to be overly slow than to outbrake yourself and go bonking barrier. Focus on getting the kart rotated at the apex and then getting back onto the power smoothly to maximize your exit speed. Because as I've said before, a good exit will make a huge difference to your lap time. Now, it's important to be driving reasonably quickly when you're testing out your lines and your braking points, because you need an accurate representation of how the kart handles at the limit of grip and how much grip there is. So the better that you're identifying where this limit of grip is and how fast you're going, the easier this will become, but you build that up over time. Now, on laps 6 and 7, you want to continue locking in your racing lines, and at the same time, you really want to start testing those braking points. For example, if you're finding that you're entering the corner too slowly, then you can try pushing the braking point back a little bit. And if you're overshooting it, then you want to pull it forwards a bit. So just keep testing those braking points and moving your reference forward or back accordingly to find the perfect spot. Another side note with this, when you're changing your braking point, you want to do it really gradually so that you don't change it by a big amount and then greatly overshoot and have a crash or something like that. Small little adjustments over time is perfect. Okay, so also in lap 6 and 7, at the same time, you want to start identifying the characteristics of the kart itself. For example, does it turn really well one way but not the other? How easy is it to lock up the brakes? How much rotation do you get when you lock up the brakes? How quickly does the kart accelerate? How much grip do the tires have when you turn the steering wheel a lot? Or how much grip do the tires have when you turn it just a little bit? At PowerPlay, because it's a new track, these karts are brand new, so they're pretty great across the board. They have lots of grip, they're electric motors, so they accelerate really quickly, and they have lots of torque, and the brakes are quite predictable and generate quite a lot of rotation. So what that tells me is I can push the limit of grip quite a lot, but I need to be gentle with the brakes and coming back onto the throttle so that I don't create too much rotation and keep the kart sliding for too long, because that's going to cost lap time. So you've got to listen to your kart and work out what driving adaptations will be the fastest for what you're driving. Now, all of this kart related info will help you refine your lines and your braking points and keep the kart on the limit more consistently. Stage 3. Now it's time for the final stage, which is where we're going to refine everything down to a perfect lap. So you have your layout, you know the line, you have your kart and braking points dialed in, and now it's time for lap time. Right about now is where you're moving into the 95% push region. On laps 8, 9, and 10, your focus should be smoothness and consistency. Now, the reason why I said 95% push and not 100 is because often when you drive at 100%, you'll actually go slower. Now, this is because when you're pushing as hard as you can, you're much more likely to make more mistakes and start sliding more, and all of that is going to slow you down. So instead, if you focus on driving at 95% and linking everything together, hitting all your apexes, using all of the track, ensuring that your hands are nice and smooth and not jerking about, then you're going to be much more consistent. And consistency builds up to speed pretty quickly. But if you're inconsistent, then it's very hard to just nail out one perfect lap. So as you keep driving, you can keep making small refinements and focus on getting more and more consistent until the session ends. So they are the 3 stages, and in just a second, I'll share the 2 bonus tips which will help you speed up this process even more. But just before we go through those, here's a quick recap. So first you have the reconnaissance phase, and this is the first 3 laps where you want to work out where the track goes, any special track features, and your reference points. Then there's the testing phase where you want to start driving a little bit faster and linking together your racing lines and braking points and understanding how the kart reacts on the limit of grip. And finally, there is the refinement stage. And this is where you're driving at 95% pace and focused on linking everything together and building up your consistency, which will make you fast. Now, that's quite a lot to remember. So I've made a new track checklist, which you can download for free. This checklist will run you through all 3 stages and all of the processes within them, along with some space for you to take notes for each corner so that you can cement everything you learn on track and beforehand. So there's a link in the description and you can download it straight away. Now for the 2 bonus tips. The first bonus tip is incredibly important. If you want to be super fast in your first session, then this step sets up that entire process for success before you even get there. And that is to look at a track map before you go and watch an onboard video of someone else driving it. So go to YouTube and search up the track name and watch the fastest lap that you can find. This is gonna let you understand the track layout and the racing lines before you get to the track, which is a huge advantage. But don't just watch the video passively. There are some specific things that you're looking for, and we're gonna go over them right now. So number 1, I already touched on, you want to work out where they're positioning their kart on corner entry and exit. What's the general racing line? That's sort of what you're trying to infer firstly. Then number 2, where do they start braking and turning in for the corner, and what might their reference points be? So have a look at where they're driving, where they're braking, how they're turning in, and see if you can infer what reference points they're using from that. And then you can copy them when you go on track. And number 3, where does the kart look unsettled? Are there any bumps? Are there tricky curbs to avoid? This can be really useful information to tell you where the danger spots are. If you see other people making these mistakes, then hopefully you can watch that and not replicate it yourself when you get on track. So having a 5-minute look at an onboard before you get to the track can save you basically a whole session's worth of trial and error. And that is why it's so overpowered, and I highly recommend it. Now, the second bonus tip I want to talk about is you can go and talk to the track locals or staff. Now, if you can find someone who knows the track and ask them for advice, I promise you, 99% of racers are super passionate and they love to help and they love to talk about themselves. So this lets you learn from people who have heaps of specific knowledge about a track, and they will be able to tell you exactly what you need to do to be fast. So there you go, my entire system for learning new tracks within 1 session. But if you drive lots and you're trying to smash your lap times, but you just can't manage to break through them, check out the 21 karting tips I used to set a lap record and smash PBs.